The rise and fall of Roman Empire.
We picture the Roman Empire as a pristine world of marble columns and elegant senators. The reality is Rome started as a muddy, desperate swamp. The ancient Romans embraced this dark origin. Their founding myth claims the city was built by Romulus and Remus, twin orphans abandoned by a river, who only survived because they were nursed by a ferocious predator. When the brothers grew up, they decided to build a city of their own, but they immediately got into a vicious argument over which hill to build it on. The dispute ended with Romulus murdering his own brother. Romulus became the sole king of a new settlement, but he immediately faced a demographic crisis. He had declared Rome an asylum, attracting a massive influx of male criminals and runaway slaves. He had plenty of fighters, but zero women. To solve this, the Romans invited a neighboring tribe called the Sabines to a religious festival, and mid-party, they violently kidnapped the Sabine women to take as wives. This is an incredibly grim origin story, but it reveals exactly how the Romans viewed themselves. From day one, they understood that survival required taking in outsiders, sometimes by invitation, sometimes by force, and aggressively absorbing them into the Roman project. In the ancient Mediterranean, conquering a rival city usually meant killing the men and enslaving everyone else. When the Roman Republic began expanding through Italy, they tried a different approach. They defeated their neighbors, left their local governments intact, and offered them a degree of Roman citizenship. There was a major catch. Rome didn't ask these new citizens to pay monetary taxes. Instead, they demanded bodies. Every conquered city was required by law to supply troops to the Roman army. By the time Rome clashed with Carthage, a wealthy seafaring empire in North Africa, they possessed a limitless reservoir of soldiers. Carthage relied on expensive mercenaries. Rome could absorb massive casualties, instantly raise a brand new army from its allied cities, and keep fighting until Carthage was erased from the map. By offering a piece of the political pie in exchange for mandatory military service, Rome turned the very people they defeated into the engine for their next conquest. But this military machine had a structural flaw. As campaigns stretched into decades, soldiers spent their entire adult lives fighting for a single general. They relied on that commander for their pay and their retirement land. Their loyalty belonged to the man, not the Roman state. Julius Caesar saw the crack in the system. After conquering Gaul with an intensely loyal army, he refused to step down. Instead, he marched his legions across the Rubicon River, took over Rome, and declared himself dictator for life. A faction of senators panicked. To prevent a permanent monarchy, they ambushed Caesar and stabbed him to death. But killing the dictator didn't restore the Republic. It plunged the entire Mediterranean into a catastrophic civil war. Out of the chaos emerged Caesar's adopted heir, Augustus. He ruthlessly eliminated his political rivals and defeated the last of the independent foreign powers, including Queen Cleopatra of Egypt. Augustus realized the old system was dead. He cleverly disguised his one-man autocracy behind the traditional titles of the Republic. He started paying soldiers directly from the imperial treasury, and he stopped the endless military expansion to lock down the borders. The state had grown too massive, and its generals too ambitious. The chaotic democratic competition of the Republic had to die, so a rigid, carefully managed central order could survive. With the borders locked down, the emperors needed to physically hold their massive territory together. They laid down over 80,000 kilometers of paved stone roads. Suddenly, you could step onto a paved street in modern-day France and walk on a continuous highway all the way to Spain or Greece. Combined with total naval control over the Mediterranean, Rome artificially shrunk the map, allowing them to march troops anywhere a rebellion flared up. They didn't just build for logistics. They constructed massive stone aqueducts to pump millions of gallons of water into urban centers. It was a flex of pure engineering capability, designed to make Roman dominance feel permanent. But the real glue of the empire was its economy. Millions of identical clay amphorae carried olive oil, wine, and grain across the sea. You had mass-produced identical red pottery showing up everywhere from the Sahara Desert to the wet moors of northern Britain. This highly synchronized economy operated on a single standardized currency. A merchant in London and a trader in Syria were suddenly operating in the exact same economic ecosystem, handling silver denarii stamped with the current emperor's face. These roads and trade routes functioned as the literal hardware of assimilation, forcing disparate cultures to speak, trade, and organize on Rome's specific terms. This entire economic miracle was built on human suffering. Below the marble columns and paved roads was a massive, invisible underclass of slave labor, trapped in places like the brutal silver mines of Spain to extract the empire's raw wealth. The social hierarchy was fiercely patriarchal and highly stratified, yet the system was just flexible enough to allow strategic exceptions, where wealthy Roman women and allied foreign queens could quietly leverage immense political influence behind closed doors. For the masses living in the cities, order was maintained through a potent mix of free grain and psychological conditioning. The state regularly gathered its citizens into massive arenas to witness spectacular industrialized blood sports. Ultimately, Rome perfected a kind of copy and paste civilization. They dropped identical, perfectly mapped grid cities directly into foreign territories, and eventually they granted full legal citizenship to every free person living within their borders. Rome's survival relied on a sophisticated political operating system. By building a network that systematically reformatted enemies into citizens, Rome proved that institutional integration is far more powerful than military victory alone.